Welcome back to another bike review. This is the Aluminium Orbea Rise H30, Hydro 30 it's referred to. It's 20 kilograms in weight. It's got 140mm forks, 140mm shock. It's got the Shimano EPA RS Rider Synergy motor, which kicks out 60 Newton meters. It is restricted, and that's what the RS is. It's Orbea's implementation of the battery and the rider and the motor together to get the most out of the battery using a lower powered motor. Let's go through some of the specs on this bike. So first of all, we've got the Marzocchi bombers up front. They are 29er forks and 29er wheels, 140mm travel in there. You've got your compression and lockout up top, and you've also got your rebound down the bottom. We've got the Flow X DP3, 140mm travel on the back here. We've got a Shimano drivetrain with the SLX cassette and rear mech. Dual shifters up front, and also Shimano brakes, but they are single pot, so twin pot, single pot. They are two piston, one either side, and the model for those is the MT410. It's got 180mm disc rotors, Orbea's own touch points, stem, bars, grips, its own seat post, which I really like all of that, especially these grips. I get on really well with these grips. Got the Raceface H30 wheel set there that are set up tubeless. Obviously when you buy a new bike they don't come tubeless because the sealant will go off in the wheels. And on the controls there, to match the battery, we've got the Shimano SC E7000 display, which is really nice, and we've also got the Shimano E7000 switch unit on the left, which is just an up and down. I really like that compact there. So that's the specs out of the way. First I want to address these forks. The Marzocchi bombers, it's not something you kind of go to as your first choice personally. I'm a Fox kind of guy, or Rock Shocks. So when the Marzocchis came on it, I thought, they seem a bit budgety, but actually after riding them I was quite impressed with them. They seem to respond really well. There's no flex in them. They work on big rocks I rode down, and they were fine. If you don't notice them, they're doing a good job. They were dead easy to set up. They've got the indicator on the fork around the left hand side there. Setting them up to the recommended settings, check the sag, and they were fine. Really got on with them. Shock, can't go wrong with Fox. Set that up, no problem, set and forget. It's got the climb, trail and descend switch on there, which is really effective on this bike. The climb switch locks it out, the trail gives it a bit of bob, and the descend switch is just all out go. So I rode it mostly in trail, to be honest, around them, but the tarmac climbs you can just lock it out and go, and the descend, it's a bit fidgety underneath, but it's easier than some of the bikes I've ridden before. Let's talk about the motor and what makes these Rise bikes so good. So 60 Newton meters, not as much as a full fat e-bike, which might be coming at 80, 85 Newton meters, or even some above now, like the high bikes come at 90. But the idea behind this motor is that when you're riding, it's supposed to be more natural, so it doesn't deliver all the power in one full blast. And you can see this when you set off on the bike. It doesn't make your wheels spin out, it gradually gives you the power, and it's a bit like when I was at school, the teacher said you get out what you put in. That's definitely true with this bike as well. The more the rider inputs into the bike, the more watts, cadence, the more you get out of it. So 75 to 95 I think is the recommended cadence for this, which is quite fast for a mountain biker. For a roadie that's standard, probably about 80, but you'll find yourself just dropping through the gears, spinning the easy gears and letting the bike help you up. Whereas with a full fat e-bike you might use some of the harder gears and just let the motor pull you up. Whereas this, you're working together, and that's some of the efficiency that gives you the battery saving through the motor and through the rider putting in more effort effectively. You do get all the connected features with this, but you need to register the bike to be able to implement those with your Garmin, so have the stats and stuff come up in your Garmin Connect. Unfortunately, because this is not my bike, I couldn't demonstrate those. It is much like the carbon bike. If I had the choice, I would definitely get the carbon. I would go for 160 forks up front, like the carbon one, the M10 carbon that comes with the Fox 36s. Did find the riding position a bit short on this, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. It's like any new bike. The tyres on this bike are both maxes. The dissector up front, really got on with that. Big knobbles, grippy in the mud, decent on the rock. The back is the Recon. I've had this on other bikes before. I just don't like this tyre. It is a fast rolling tyre, so good for dust and stuff, but the grip is not great, especially on rocks. I found this just slipping out. I was kind of like dragging the back end, not with a brake, but actually trying to drag it up as it just slipped down rocks and stuff. So I'm not a fan of this, and I also had bad experience with these on other bikes where The sidewalls have been really thin and just absolutely ripped them out within a few rides. This is a 2.4 tyre. The bad experience I had was 2.6, but nevertheless I would swap this tyre out. The frame on this bike is lovely. You can hardly tell there's any welds in this. It does look carbon at a glance. The welds are beautiful, and the paintwork on this, it is wrapped by the way, there is a bit of a gloss wrap on this, but it's got almost a shiny, glossy, glittery silver finish in this. Really like that. Overall 20 kilograms. It rode well. If you're looking for an e-bike that you can go out all day on, this is the one for you. It climbed excellently. Again, if you were going to do laps like bike park laps and stuff, or local trails over and over, I would probably go for the next model up, or just swap out these forks and probably the brakes. Don't get me wrong, the brakes worked and they're okay, but I would prefer something that's 4-pot front and back. The 180 rotors are fine if you're going to make it more of a descending weapon, but all day, all mountain, this is the bike for you. To give an example, I was out yesterday, rode up North Wales near Llangollen, did over 4,000 feet of climbing, weren't hanging around, average speed about 8 miles an hour, and we did 21 miles in distance I think, but generally it's the elevation where you're using more of the battery and more of the power. I still had 2 bars of battery left, and just as reference there are 5 full bars on there when you set off and it's fully charged. It takes about 6 hours to charge from flat. Usually you've got about a bit in there, so you can 4 to 6 hours is going to give you a full charge. It comes with a charger, so there's a fast charge. There is a range extender available, which you can mount on the bottle holder as well. I think that comes in just short of £500 and will give you an extra 220-ish. I think it's a little bit less than that actually, to give you more range on this. But for £4,800, you're probably paying that for a decent mountain bike without the motor and the battery. I would say this is a great buy. This was lent to me by LeisureLakesBury, as always, so it is available to demo this actual bike. It's done 100 miles, so contact them if you want to borrow one. There is a charge and a deposit to put down on that, but it's definitely worth it demoing one if you are thinking about buying one. For me, if I had the money, I'd definitely get a Rise, but again, if I had the money, I would get the Carbon M10 edition. I just liked it more, but this was a great bike. I don't think I would go for a full fat bike personally. If you just want to get out, you want to go exploring, which is for me where e-bikes come into their own. You're going to go download GPX and go and find out what it's all about, and you don't want to be out there all day. That's where a bike like this is coming in. It's also not too bad if you do take a wrong turn. You need to lift it over a fence, lift it over a gate, or take it somewhere, push it back up a trail. It's not that heavy that you're going to struggle with that. It does have the walk mode on it as well, as all the Shimano ones do. So let me know what you think. Have you got one? Are you thinking about getting one? Have you ridden one? Would you consider one? Or do you think they're just useless and you'll get a full fat one? Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.